Chapter 27. So it was Christmas Day 2016, so I called Jamie and she answered, and I said, "Merry Christmas. I miss you terribly." She said, "Why are you calling Gary's number?" And I said,
Fuck you.
"I'm calling you to wish you happy holidays." She said, "George, I'm sorry that I can't talk with you." "Why is that?" "I promised Gary to take care of him and he could provide for me." "Jamie, you even said he was gross. He has one foot on a banana peel and a foot in the grave." "Please, babe, if I thought you were happy, then I would accept it. But I know you're not. I'm not giving up on you. I'm here, damn it." Things were working out for a while until there was interference. That was the last call I had with her. At least, though, I knew she was okay, and I just wanted to make sure she was okay. I checked in at times just to hear her voice. 2017 came in with a bang, and the court case was getting to the nitty gritty, and I needed an attorney or someone who legally knew the law to come and help format my documents. Angela helped look on Craigslist, and we came up with this guy by the name of Michael Saunders. I spoke with on the phone and briefly told him who I was. He chimed back and said, "I know who you are. I used to watch you on TV when I was a kid. I found it odd, but oh, is that right?" So while the judge requested my documents to be formatted differently and typed out with Court 12 Romans type, so I met this guy at Starbucks and we started working on the project and we're paying increments, $200 to $300 at times, to format my papers. At first it seemed to be appropriate and he was producing the work. Finally, he began to come up with excuses on why he couldn't finish certain projects pertaining to the lawsuit. Then he finally came out with an epiphany that he was gay and married to his roommate named Danny. Totally shocked by this, I was more concerned about meeting deadlines with the case. I got to realize this guy was a bizarre individual and not mentally altogether. Meanwhile, I would periodically check up on Jamie, so I was at the Panera restaurant using my computer. Like always, I looked at her Facebook and saw her Facebook page and I read in memory of her Facebook page. I looked at it, totally trembling and shaking. I looked at it carefully and it said she died on April 20th, 2017. I then proceeded to grab my computer and took the table and flipped it with my bare hands. I got down on my knees and cried like a baby. I never cried so hard in my life. Throughout all of her mannerisms and her moody disposition, I totally loved Jamie K. Wade. I called Angela and told her about what happened, and she couldn't believe it. I said, "It's freaking true." I said, "I'm calling the fucking morgue in the morning, and I'm getting my answers." Again, Angela said she isn't dead. I said, "I wish that was true, but she is dead from an overdose. A speedball mixing heroin and cocaine." Angela then said she's probably faking it. I hope she is, but I doubt it. I'm calling the morgue to get answers. I called the next day and they confirmed that she passed away April 20th, 2017, and in fact it was Jamie's body. I found this information a month and 4 days thereafter. I then proceeded to call her mother. Totally not in sound mind at the time, I kept crying throughout the conversation and she confirmed it. She eventually didn't want me to call her again after the fourth conversation. I accepted it, but felt kicked in the face. Had torn up for months, wanted some more answers. The police kicked down the door in the old man's bathroom. She speedballed, And maybe if there was a can of Narcan available, it probably could have saved her life. Meanwhile, Angela wrote her memorial without consulting me. I told her to hold off, and my concern was I didn't want the trolls to know anything about it. I was an emotional wreck for weeks. I spoke to a spiritualist and a medium to channel her spirit. What I knew confirmed that she still loves me. I felt like at the time I might need to go seek a shrink because I couldn't accept the fact of her death. Meanwhile, I mentioned this briefly to Saunders, and he played like he was sympathetic to the story. That was a mistake that ended up costing me. While the case progressed, deadlines were being met, but the judge ended up throwing the strongest part of the case I had in play. That was the defamation. Both Saunders and myself were puzzled by this. Meanwhile, the mortgage company clamped down and said that there was a foreclosure date on my house. I flipped out and consulted with Henry McLaughlin again, but this time told me there wasn't nothing I can do but sue the mortgage company and the escrow company, or pay a mortgage. Also had what you call suspend this to the courts that would stop the courts dead in their tracks from taking the house while it was a court battle. Saunders produced documents with the help of a military friend, which bought me more time at the house for about another year. When the whole actuality of that case was being presided by, you guessed it, the same judge that presided over my other case of copyright material. Again, the strongest suit was thrown out, which made no sense. Things seemed to change in the relations with Saunders. He started doing cocaine and was sniffing Dusterhofer from a computer cleaner. This became a big problem. Also, little did I know, Saunders had a track record a mile long, in and out of jail for drug issues and sodomy charges against a minor, in which he said he got reversed by suing ex-governor Terry McAuliffe on the matter. This guy had a checkered past, and things started to take a toll for the worse when this foreigner got involved in the case. He was a Brit named Marty McFly, which from the movie Back to the Future. He was a dofus, ignorant person that said he wasn't an attorney, but he was going to help his buddy, Wilmar. Supposedly his real name is redacted, was his untouchable character that emerged as a big nemesis in relation to this lawsuit. Saunders and this foreign bitch were on the phone trying to negotiate a compromise, when it was a ruse. Throughout the time, Michael Saunders was secretly doing the legal formatting for Will Markland and Sean Brennan. I didn't figure this out until it was too late, and slowly but surely, it crumbled my case. 2 weeks before all this went down, Bo was trying to introduce me to a girl named Kristen Redacted, who was an old gentleman's club dancer and knew all about Saunders. One night after talking with Bo on the phone to meet Kristen, Saunders and myself went to the seedy bar that was in front of Bo's trailer park. There Kristen came into the scene. Fairly attractive lady. It was Saunders the whole night tried to hit on, while she and him were in my car. That night, Saunders was trying to get some drugs from the bar owner and kept hitting on Kristen. I simply told him that he needs to check himself and stop trying to come onto her. After that night was over, we dropped Kristen back at Bo's and talks were in the works to get her on my show as my female co-host. Saunders tried to act a fool and was drunk and stoned out of his mind. Only weeks later, his true agenda was shown while he was spilling all my information to this foreigner and the trolls and abandoning the rest of my case. This guy was doing Dusterhofer and wanted me to take him to Target to get a computer cleaner, not to use for the obvious, but to snort it down. This guy's other words left me hanging. When I refused to, he completely turned on me and worked for the opposition and became buddies with this Marty bitch character. Meanwhile, Kristen I met and I was grooming her to become my new female co-host, with being a part of the show, along with Kevin Vince Boy and myself. Our 2017 lineup was ready. In one of our live shows, we did a rendition of the Price is Right auction off different items, and then she played Ellie Mae on the Beverly Hillbillies rendition skit. Week 3, we talked about the court case, and from that moment on, when Kristen said profoundly, that maybe the judge should recuse himself from being biased and showing favor to the opposition. The most truest words that could ever been said. From that moment on, she became a target for the trolls to attack. She became a brief fixture on my show. She became like a little sister. So at the time, at least I thought so. With all the extra drama going on, Ellen came back and wrote me this letter from Riverside, that she wanted me to help her, and she would be my girlfriend when she came out. I wasn't going through this again, and I still wasn't ready for anything, dealing with the heartache of losing Jamie. I briefly mentioned to Angela what Ellen was trying to pull off. Angela then went a wait on me and said, "Don't you call me again." She said, "I'm not your friend." Said, "What the hell is wrong with you?" A few weeks later, she called me and told me she lost her dog. She said her dog died and was crying about that. Then, out of the same breath, and didn't know why she was telling me any of this. Throughout all of this drama, Jeremy W. started to become an issue, and he would never show his face when he did these attack videos against me working with the trolls. Weeks before Angela flipped on me due to the mention of Ellen's name, she partnered with me to hire a private investigator to snap a picture of W. We wanted to know what he looked like and put an end to his shenanigans. So the private investigator sent me a snapshot of his ape-like self, lol, and it was posted on the internet. The trolls then embraced W and sided with him, accusing me of somehow being involved. Though I couldn't have really given two shits about him, using him as a pawn to attack me. Angela and I went half on getting pictures snapped to put an end to his constant attacks against me. Throughout that time, Angela flipped and started talking to the trolls and told them a mountain of stuff about Jamie's relationship with me, along with what Saunders knew and me confiding in him, and what Jeremy S. mentioned. People turned on me left and right. Angela for being jealous of Jamie even after her death and showed her true self as a backstabbing bitch that could rot in hell. Also a mentally ill bitch, Jeremy S., that wasn't playing with a full deck. Of course, Michael Saunders, the biggest Benedict Arnold stooge that also had severe drug issues. It became a revolving door of people coming in and people going out. I couldn't tell who my friends were from my enemies. Angela finally dropped off the face of the earth, not to mention took some pot shots at me and told this foreigner my business. Angela proved she wasn't stable and a backstabber. It was coming into 2018, and things took a major turn for the worse, where I only literally had months left in my house. Josh moved back in for the third time because it was out of desperation that I needed the extra help. He bought AJ his old dog back, a little beagle named Cooper. Later, he was incarcerated, and I had no idea until I found out from his cousin that he was in jail. Legally, his dogs became mine. Cooper was a cutie that I became attached to. Beagle that howled all the time that I eventually grew fond of. AJ, his big dog who was part pit, eventually emasculated his tail by biting it off. I came home to find my house filled with blood in the upstairs area where I kept AJ. It broke my heart, but I couldn't take care of AJ since now he was my responsibility and Josh's parents couldn't even help by taking him. I turned him into the Enrico Pound and kept Cooper. Months later, Josh contacted me and I told him about what happened, telling him what happened to AJ and how Cooper was mine. He understood, even though he was upset by the fact I wouldn't give him Cooper back.